So after a ton of grinding, I finally have for you all the Veritas sets. These sets, if you don't know, are from the Throne World, and you could get all of the pieces by ranking up your reputation with Finch. Now in this video I'll be showing you all of these sets with different shaders as well as some fashion I made with them, so I will leave timestamps on screen if you want to skip ahead. I got this video out as soon as I could for you all, so a like would be greatly appreciated, and without further delay it's time to get straight into the shaders. So I'm going to be starting off with the more common shaders like Amethyst Veil. Throughout all the sets it does have some really nice dark blue and black parts, however on some parts of the pieces you will see some lighter colours. Now these lighter parts aren't present on Metro Shift, although it does add more blue. The way the black is applied on these sets in comparison to Amethyst Veil is much more clean looking, and overall I do think this is a much better shader for those sets. Now another darker shader I quite like is Base Salt Toxic. As well as having these really nice dark colours, it has a nice pop of green and blue, the green allowing these symbols on these pieces to stand out, and then the blue making the stitching more visible, particularly on the Hunter set. Now here is another shader I know a lot of people really like to use, and this is Golden Trace. This shader adds a really nice gold to the patterns and the outlines of some of the pieces, and also adds some carbon fibre to the plating. The main issue with this shader on a lot of sets is that there is way too much of this carbon fibre texture, however I think on these sets it does balance out quite nicely. Then next we have New Age Black Armory. Very little amount of red used on this set, and you will see on parts of the cloth it does have this wavy texture. And the final dark shade I want to show you all is Abyssinian Gold. This instead adds more brown to the plated parts of the set, and you will notice on the Warlock helmet that it does look like there is some type of glow, however you will see that the glow isn't actually that bright. Now for any of you wanting an all white look, the best shader you can use is Bitter Pearl, which is still obtainable from the Vault of Glass raid. And for any of you which like black and white looks, here is Jack Arena. This looks best on the Titan set as it does add some hints of blue to the Hunter and Warlock. Then from the Last Wish raid we have Dreaming Spectrum. Highly recommend getting this shader if you are newer to the game. It makes pairing different sets together quite easy, and also looks particularly nice on the Titan and Warlock sets. Now another shader which is from the Dreaming City is Dreaming Cast. This goes with a more blue and big in the appearance, and I think this looks just as good as Dreaming Spectrum. Now next up we have Gambit Jadestone, which if you don't know you can actually obtain right now from Gambit matches. This is the brightest glow shader in the game, and on the Warlock helmet it is not that bright whatsoever, so don't expect any bright glows from any of these sets. Now another nice green is Boreal Char. I personally prefer this over Gambit Jadestone as it allows these patterns to stand out. Now for any of you wanting a nice purple look, here is Begiza Night. This is actually an animated shader, and you will notice on the cloth that it will brighten and then dim. This is more noticeable on the Warlock set. Now next up we have 44 Steel, which is one of my personal favourites on the set. I think this creates a gorgeous brown look throughout all the pieces, and having these different shades really help parts of the set stand out. Then next we have Callus Selected, which I know a lot of players still like to use. This one's actually quite interesting with the underlayers shader in a purple, and then the parts going over the stitching creating a nice white and gold. And if any of you completed the Prestige version, then here is Callus's Treasured. Instead of the white it goes more yellow and gold. Now for any of you wanting a nice red shader, here's Carminica. This is one of my favourite red shaders for a darker look, and it definitely suits the aesthetic of these pieces. Hopefully Bungie will return old Crucible shaders as drops at the end of matches. Then next we have Refragalia, which uses the Awoken colours, and just like Dreaming Spectrum is a really easy shader to use. Now if you want a really unique animated look, then I would instead recommend Mistopher. This particularly stands out on the Warlock set as it is mostly cloth. And then the final shader I want to show you all is Omnicronia, which if you don't know has returned into the Eververse archive. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up all the shaders. Feel free to let me know which shader is your favourite for each class in the comments. And now it's time to move on to the Hunter set. So here is the full Hunter set, and I must say the detail throughout is just fantastic. The cloak is one of my favourite parts of this, and is very reminiscent of the Christ the Queen set. This set as well as the Braid Tech would be fantastic pieces to pair with this. Now an exotic that instantly came to mind when using these pieces was the Knucklehead Radar. Now I went and switched out the arms for the Siegebreak ornaments for more of that techie aesthetic, and then the boots for the Christ the Queen as I felt these flowed quite well with the chest plate. And with the shader Valkyrie Zero you can see that the orange shade is the outside of the arms as well as the boots, and this also pairs really well with the hologram coming off the helmet. Now another shade I also found found to look really good with this was Omnichronia, which is now available in the Eververse archive. And if you want to change the exotic ornaments for the 9 days and nights, then I would instead recommend the shader Biolume. This creates a really nice rough texture on the plating, as well as shadering the outside of the arms and boots a nice green, which both the blue and green pair very nicely with the hologram. And if you wanted to go with a lighter appearance, then you could also use Oiled Algae from the Solstice. And for any of you which like to use the Stompy's exotic, here's a set I made with the Royal Dye shader. I switched out the helmet from the Streetwise from the Bungie 30th anniversary pack, and the cloak for the Meridian Constellation from the Season of the Lost Pass. And what I really like about this shader is the way it looks on the cloth, giving the blue a nice pink pearlescent. But anyways, they are pretty much my hunter sets I made with these pieces. Let me know what you think of them in the comments below and what pieces you would recommend instead. Now moving on, here is the Titan set, and this is easily one of my new favourites. I really love this set as a whole, particularly the chest plate and the mark. Now here is a set I made using the Crystal Cream pieces with the Dune Matches exotic. The reason why I used the Hipwire ornament for these boots was because the shaders more evenly on both sides. The arms and the mark really do pair well with this chest plate, and you can see that this set works with a variety of different shaders. Now here's another set I made with the new Sight and Rampart ornaments, the Trace of the Throne, and these arms really do fit well with this chest plate and boots. You could also use the helmet, but I also found the Thorian ornaments work really well because of the sharper look. This helmet really does blend perfectly with the design of these arms. And then for the mark, I chose the Chrysocrine as it does blend the chest and boots really well. So yeah, that's pretty much the Titan set. It does look really nice, although you do have to be careful with some helmets with that chest plate, as it will look quite awkward. Let me know what you all think of my set in the comments below and what pieces you would use instead. Then finally we have the Warlock set, and like many other sets, is mainly based off the helmets and robes. All of these pieces look fantastic, and I'm happy to see that these gloves do actually have quite a lot of detail, which isn't usually common for many Warlock gloves. Now I'll be honest, I didn't really find any issues with pairing this with different sets. I actually found that you can make some really awesome and unique looks with these robes, like maybe a Witch Doctor, and I would highly recommend testing different things out with this helmet. Now as well as this, I also found this helmet to work really well with other sets like the new Void 3.0 ornaments. You could definitely create some nice sorcerer looks with these pieces, and this set would also work really well with the Nothing Manacles exotic. I mainly just wanted to show you that you can either use the robes or the helmet with different pieces to create a unique look, and if you want to stand out with your Warlock, then I'd highly recommend not using the same helmet and robes of a set. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up the video. Let me know what you all think of each of the sets in the comments below and which one you prefer. Consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel, as I tried my best to get this video out as soon as I could for you all. Thank you all so much for watching, and an extra thank you to all my YouTube members for the amazing support. Stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video.